Yo, yo, what is up, everybody? This is Kyle and Mike from the Fantasy Phenom. We are back to recap Monday's 11-game slate, talk about Tuesday's 3-game slate. Feel like we just had one of these on Sunday, so it's going to be a little different. You go from so many options to no options, but over at the Phenom, man, we had a really good night. A lot of guys hit tonight, some big winners. Jay Madrid, again, coming through for the Phenom. He put in $85 and came out $700 and something dollars, and also won 2 tickets to the Mega Slam on the 24th.
Man, he's about to come in that Mega Slam in a on a winning streak too.
Yeah,
That's
buddy.
awesome, man. Congrats to you, Jay. I need to learn some of your secrets, man. I won $18 tonight, so I
I
guess it's
doubled.
not too bad. But
I almost
seven
doubled.
hundred, man. Woo!
I almost doubled my buy-in. I put in 24 and won 42. I think so.
There you
Um,
go.
not bad.
Positive nights all around.
That's right, buddy. We had an Nacio again. Nacio. I apologize if I say your name wrong. He let me know on Twitter again. Third time in 4 nights. He cashed nicely tonight, so shout out to him. Am I missing who? Michael Gray had a really nice lineup. He had a 359 lineup tonight, so congrats to him. Just a lot of positivity around the phenoms tonight.
Yeah, if we're dishing out congrats, I might as well shout out the winners right now. I mean,
Do it.
yeah, why not? So on DraftKings, ironically enough, our winner on DraftKings, his DK handle is DK I lose a lot. So, bro, tonight was your night, I guess. 321.5 points, locked down Bradley Beal and LeBron for the win, man. And he had Blake too, which I think he was one of the only people in the entire Money Melee with Blake Griffin at 4.5% owned. Blake had a triple double tonight, so congrats. And then over on FanDuel, the winning line was 352.6. So, and that was BK Eric, I'm sure is how he wanted to say it. BK Eric. Eric with a K. So, Mr. Eric with a K, congrats to you for jumping up top those leaderboards. And if you guys saw today, or if you didn't see today, I posted the power rankings for both of those contests. And like I said, going forward, if you did take down the Money Melee or the Phenom Duel today, you will be entered into the weekly winners contest as well on Sunday.
Real quick, I saw a couple people asking Jay tonight in the group. Jay, what's your secret, man? Like, what are you doing that we're not? Blah blah blah. And I was talking to Jay. We've been messaging back and forth, and super cool guy. First of all, real down to earth. He's more than happy to help guide you guys in the right direction. So feel free to hit Jay up, man. He is all for helping the community, giving back. He loves the Phenom. He loves the group we got going. So look for Jay in the Facebook group. And I also want to apologize. I know I missed a couple posts today that I was tagged in. I don't always get the notifications on my phone, and so I apologize about that. And then on top of that, I was late to work today, overslept my alarms, so it was just an all-around rush day, school all day. So I apologize if I missed any questions in the Facebook group, but forgive me.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that as well. It's getting to a point where there's so many of you guys, and it's hard to keep up. And I know Kyle and I are both busy trying to do things on the back end to keep you guys informed, and so yeah, I know it's a lot, but you guys are more than capable of helping each other out. And it's awesome because everybody has their own process. There's not one winning process that everybody uses, or else we'd all be winning, you know?
Exactly. So there's a ton of knowledgeable guys in the group. Feel free to hit up. Obviously a couple guys that we're working with. Uh, Darian Smith, Anthony, you guys all know Anthony doing the We Build Wednesdays. Josh Sands is in there. Josh Tannery. Dave. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. I'm not even going to try. All these guys are profitable DFS players. 1,000s, I'm telling you. So feel free to tag them and hit them up as well. Like they're all part of that movement as well. And honestly, just anyone in that group, man. If you see a winner in there, tag them.
Yeah, and look to the contest as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, and here's the one thing I want to talk about real quick because I've noticed a trend, and it's pretty obvious at this point, and the success rate is really good. In the optimals that I send out, they are not perfect. I'm still refining them every day. I actually just found um, not a flaw, but a something that I could improve in my algorithm today. And so I made the change for tomorrow. So the projections I'm hoping are going to be better. As you can see, I mean, they're not bad. I'm pretty close on quite a few players. But regardless, when you look at the optimals from yesterday, DeMar DeRozan returned in almost every one. Gordon Hayward returned in quite a few. Andre Drummond returned in almost every one. Who else returned quite a bit? Anthony Davis returned in almost every one, if not every one. Am I missing? I know I'm missing someone. But regardless, my point being, there's a reason that players return so often in these optimals. And again, I will never tell you to play them verbatim. Now they have hit. We've seen the proof of that. One hit 391 verbatim. No changes. But take them as a tool and you look at them and you see, okay, DeMar DeRozan's returning in 12 out of 15 of these lineups. Let me at least dig into that a little more and see what are the stats surrounding this game. What's the team he's playing DVP? What are they allowing over the last 5 games? What's DeMar DeRozan doing over the last 5-10 games? Things like that. Like dig into it a little more. And that's kind of another area where you can start your research is look for players. I know that's one thing Anthony does. You guys all see Anthony's research. He literally will get a piece of paper and he'll write down number of times players return, things like that. It really is a good tool to use. And more times than not, that player that returns consistently hits. So,
There's
just
plenty of
something.
ways to go. Yeah, like I was just saying, there's plenty of ways to go about it. If there was one strategy, we would all be winning. So, mess around with it. Find a strategy that you're comfortable with, and that you find is winning you money more days than not, and just keep working at it.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, it all comes down to developing a strategy that works for you. But use the tools that are available. DVP is it's my single favorite tool in DFS. I don't think there is a better tool to look at in DFS than DVP, in my opinion. Second is usage and pace of game. Those are my 3 favorite to look at. It's almost how I start every single roster build and construction, where I'm gonna look to build. So just again develop, and we're gonna get a roundtable. We have again all 7 of us that we're gonna sit down and we're gonna go over roster construction, bankroll management, contest selection. So that's coming. I promise that's coming for you guys because I know there's still a lot of questions out there, and it's a lot easier to talk about it in a video than it is to write it out in a post.
Definitely, absolutely. Just to piggyback what you were saying off the stats that you look at, I mean, there's a reason behind it. DVP is a stat strictly for fantasy basketball. You could go online and look up NBAstats.com or basketballreference.com. You're not going to find anything about fantasy sports there. So DVP is strictly for fantasy sports, and it's what should be looked at when you're talking about players in certain matchups. And then, with pace of game is literally defined as the amount of possessions per 48 minutes that a team has.
Mm-hmm.
And the more possessions, the more points, rebounds, anything. More fantasy points. So it's obvious to me that stat has a direct correlation to fantasy sports as well. Whereas if you look at like an opponent's points per game, that's a benchmark, I guess, in the NBA when you compared teams as far as defense and offensive. Like this team scores the most points per game, so they're the best offense. Well, they're not the best fantasy offense unless you only value points as a statistic. Whereas possessions values every type of statistic. So you really got to get smart when you're looking at stats.
Yeah, and then Mike, by the way, he's. I don't. Did you finish that stack right up?
It's not submitted. No, I mean it's not. It's finished. It's just being, I'm just
Edited.
writing it up.
Okay.
Yeah, being edited.
So Mike has the research. That is.
Yeah, just to let you guys know what's coming out. I mean, so it's not like it's not a theory of stacking. It's just literally giving you statistics that I think should be weighed heavily when choosing games or teams or players on short slates. And so I'm just giving you the statistics, and then I am ranking the teams or the players based on those statistics, and then you can pick and choose and use it however you want. It's not me. It's not like an op-ed piece of this is why I like the stack or don't like the stack. I'm giving you the numbers, and you can choose to look at them and agree with them or not.
Exactly. And with stacking, there's a way to do it. So you don't stack just for the hell of it. You got a smart stack. So like Mike was talking about correlation, he's gonna go into that in his write up. So he's gonna send that out to everyone.
Yeah, so you're gonna see it's gonna be pretty in depth, and you guys are gonna get it in the free Facebook group and the pro Facebook group and all of that. And I appreciate any feedback you got for me.
Cool. Well, let's take a quick look. So yesterday, obviously, LeBron was the high scorer on both sides. So that's FanDuel. This is DraftKings, 75 DraftKings points. Russell Westbrook right behind him at 70 and a half. Kevin Love balled out today. Blake Griffin balled out. Bradley Beal, I did not expect this type of game from him. Who
Just
else?
proves he can go off at any given day. And yeah, we said on the show last night. I mean, I mentioned those 6 guys over 10K and how they all had the similar upside to Russell Westbrook and how
Sure
I like
enough.
LeBron.
Yep.
There you go. Proof is in the
I
stats.
I said that I like John Wall more than LeBron. Didn't quite get that one right. Didn't quite get that one right. But
Yeah, what are you gonna do? So
Dwayne Wade obviously had a really
LeBron.
nice game, but I wouldn't have projected that not knowing Jimmy Butler was out last night. Cousins was right around his projection. Andre Drummond right at his projection. George Hill had a really nice game. DeMar DeRozan pretty much hit his projection. Otto Porter had a really nice game as well. Will Barton was a surprise. If you didn't have Will Barton on the late slate, you didn't cash.
Yeah,
Or you didn't
that's
win
for
money. You
sure.
didn't win big.
He's another guy that can go off at any given day.
So, well, here we are. 3-game slate. Again, there's not a lot to choose from tomorrow. But there are some good matchups. Anytime Brooklyn and Houston are playing, you know that there's going to be some points scored, and you know there's going to be a little bit of, or very little defense, you should say. I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise, you know what? So at first glance, obviously you think Kemba, right? Kemba against Brooklyn, at home, if you want to buy that narrative.
Yep.
At first glance, you got to play Kemba, right? But Kemba against Brooklyn, I believe they played twice this year, and he didn't do that great, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's underperformed twice against them. Last time he had 25 points, and the game before that he had 28. So Kemba is no lock.
For whatever reason, yeah.
Kemba is no lock versus Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean it's only 2 games, but still that is definitely worth noting, especially when you're looking to where you're going to spend up tomorrow. I still think you do have to look at Charlotte probably more than you look at any other team tomorrow. Just from the fact that they're playing Brooklyn, they're playing up in pace. They are they're somewhat banged up, so their starters are getting extra run, or their minutes are more safe. And again, it's Brooklyn. They are at the top of every DVP ranking.
In a bad way.
Yeah, they allow the most fantasy points total.
So Brooklyn's always fun to play against. So is Denver. Those two teams. Are you looking at either of the Brooklyn point guards tomorrow? I don't think you can on such a short slate.
No, I'm not. I'm not looking at either of them.
Okay. James Harden is 13-3 tomorrow against Orlando.
This is DraftKings, right?
Yeah, this is DraftKings.
Um,
I, dare you fade him?
it's a lot of money, man.
It is a lot of money. I don't think I've ever seen a player in the 13,000s.
So let's see. 5 times value is 80 points tomorrow. He needs
Six
80.
six times point. Six
Six,
times value.
yes. So let's say 5 times value is 65 points tomorrow. Man, if you look at DVP, Orlando on average gives up 44 DraftKings points to shooting guards, and that's to all the shooting guards on the team. I mean,
Yeah, but I think you have to. Harden's hard because you can't
you
really
can't really
label
look.
him as a shooting guard. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't really look at that. I was just saying, and when you're considering Harden on the slate, I feel like you have to consider what you're going to have to do with the rest of your lineup. And so if you aren't in love with a lot of plays tomorrow, again, you're going to be playing a lot of people that you're really unsure about. So I don't know. I don't think I do it.
It's hard on DraftKings. Less salary,
And I,
and he's more. He's 12-7 on FanDuel. 12-5,
mm-hmm.
12-7, something like that.
And I've been like under this impression that you have to play Harden and Westbrook in cash on short slates because if you don't, you get left behind. But I've been doing it, and it's been the ownership hasn't been what I thought it was going to be.
Westbrook, I think, was only 66% owned in my GPP on Sunday.
Really, that's still high. I mean,
It
if
is
if,
high, but
if
on a
Westbrook
three-game
is
slate,
66%, I would kind of want some Westbrook.
yeah, but on a three-game slate, I mean that's not incredibly high. Usually, you see 100%, 99%, 89%.
Still, but with a guy like Harden, if he's 70% owned in your double ups and he gets anywhere near 5 times value, you're
You're out of the cash line.
out. Yeah, because there's nothing else on this slate that's going to make that up.
What about Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum? Going back up against Dallas and Yogi Ferrell. Actually, no, I completely skipped Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly against Alfred Payton. It's not a
I
bad
like
matchup.
that.
That's not a bad matchup at all.
Yeah, I like that for sure.
Not a bad matchup at all. And
I
he's.
do like. I don't like Lillard and McCollum going up against Dallas.
What about Yogi against Dallas again? He's not gonna. First of all, don't expect Yogi to have his. What did he have? 45 points, something like that.
What's that?
What did he have? Like 45 points last time they played.
Yeah, 47 or but he hit 9 of 11
That's what
threes.
I'm
I
saying.
mean,
Don't expect a repeat. It's not gonna happen. But that doesn't mean Yogi
I
can't
think
get value.
yeah, I mean, he hit 31 today. I think that's somewhat. I would say 30. I could go over under 5 points at 30 for Yogi tomorrow. But would you rather have Yogi or Alfred Payton?
I think I'd rather have Yogi actually. I I know the pace is going to be up in Houston, but I
I think
don't.
the pace will be up in Dallas too. I I like Yogi too.
I just like Yogi's upside more than Elfrid Payton. Elfrid Payton. I also like Yogi's floor more than Elfrid Payton. Elfrid Payton's floor very well could be 5 points.
Alfred Payton? Yeah, no, he's definitely one of those guys that relies on his teammates to help him out.
So that's a he's purely GPP. You can't play Elfin Cash. That's for damn sure. Nick Batum against Brooklyn. I think you have to look at Nick Batum.
Yeah, I think you do too. I mean, he seems like he's going to be a safe play tomorrow. I mean, a lot of missed shots, a lot of rebounds. I don't know. Going up against these wings in Brooklyn, I don't know, man. I don't see how you don't play with Batum tomorrow.
I agree with that.
Comparison to everybody else, I mean, it's like him or McCollum at that price.
I have to go Batum over McCollum.
And then I guess you could put into play Eric Gordon.
What is he?
Oh
Eric
man,
Gordon's 54. I like Eric Gordon tomorrow. I also really like Evan Fournier.
that's true. I could get behind some Evan Fournier as well.
If Evan Fournier
He
gets
somewhat
his
burned me last time I played him.
well, he had 15 points last time he played, but the game before that he had
He had a pretty good one.
yeah, I think he hit value if not then some.
Would you play Fournier over Matthews?
Um, would I play Fournier over Matthews? I think in tomorrow. I think I play Matthews in cash and Fournier in GPP. I like Fournier's matchup more, but Wes I trust more.
Yeah, I like Fournier. I think for the higher upside.
Let's
But yeah,
see.
I could get behind Matthews in cash.
I love Eric Gordon tomorrow though. I think you could. This would be really contrarian, but I think you can go Evan Fournier and Eric Gordon.
I think Eric Gordon is he's a little bit underpriced in my opinion from
I was
what he can do.
Yep, I was just gonna say that 5,400 is cheap for Eric Gordon. What about where are we looking? Where are we looking? We already talked about CJ, Seth, and
Mm-hmm.
Wes. Now they are pretty evenly priced. I think I still go Wes tomorrow.
Yeah, not a Seth Curry fan. I guess they both sort of profile as a cash game play in this game. Man, I just if you look at if you look at the total fantasy points for these other two matchups, it's hard to play anybody when in like tournaments in this Portland Dallas game, especially on the Portland side. But I think in Dallas, those guys are so underpriced, or not underpriced, but such mid-priced guys that it makes it easy to build the lineups tomorrow. So like I feel like a lot of times when I'm building lineups tomorrow, I'm going to come to these Dallas guys because they're just such mid-priced and they seem safe.
You know what I'm looking at right now, and I completely overlooked it. Jeremy Lamb.
At 3,100.
Jeremy Lamb is 4,500 on FanDuel. 3,100 is 100 over minimum price. And over his last two games, he's got 16 points both games. He's in that's an amazing matchup for him.
What were his minutes?
15 minutes last game against Utah and 24 against Golden State.
Yeah, at minimum salary, I do see what you're saying.
That is a very if you
Everybody's in play against Brooklyn too. I mean, Bellinelli had over 25 minutes last game as well. So what?
Someone just said if this video gets 50 thumbs up, Kyle has to admit Brady is the GOAT. Yo,
Oh my God.
I have never gotten more hateful comments than I did on yesterday's video. It was by far our most disliked video I've ever had. I was told that I don't have an athletic bone in my body. I'm probably still a virgin. What else? That what else? I got that I didn't have, or Brady has class. I don't know. There was all sorts of shit that came up, but it was entertaining to say the least. I woke up to quite a few comments on the YouTube video, and it was entertaining
It's
to say.
because I try to tell you, you can't mess with somebody's God, man. Brady is the God to many people, and you can't talk shit about somebody's God like that. No matter who it is, you don't use
It
Brady's
was
name in vain.
it was I yeah. I didn't expect to see. I was just waiting for the death threats. Honestly, I mean they. I figured that was the next step.
It's coming.
They're coming. Yeah, I almost started the show with "I'm sorry," but um, yeah, I like Jeremy Lamb a lot tomorrow, man. I actually think Jeremy Lamb, especially if you want to roster Harden on DraftKings, I think
Hmm.
Jeremy Lamb is the perfect complement to that.
Yeah, I could get behind like a, I don't know, like a second team stack for Charlotte. You know, like a Lamb and a Kaminsky or something like that.
I love Kaminsky tomorrow. I was waiting to get to him. I love Kaminsky. But you have to think, Lamb and Harden is 16-4 together. If you were to look at like Batum and a Wes Matthews or something like that, you're looking at 12. You're looking at 11-4, 11-5. My math is correct. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's really not.
Two out of the
Yeah, it's
way to
doable.
do.
So just something to think about. If you, I mean, obviously you're gonna have to find punt plays if you play Harden tomorrow. So that's something to look at.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you play Harden, it's going to be tough to get um, both Walker and Batum. If that's what you're thinking about doing,
I don't want Walker tomorrow at all.
I think it's somewhat smart to go Walker
I can't do it.
just because of what he's done recently
I just
against the Nets.
I would rather pay up at other positions today. I like Batum a lot. I'd rather pay up
There's
there.
just
Honestly, I'd rather
there's
pay
really
up.
nowhere else to pay up though.
I'll
There's
roster Harden
there's
tomorrow.
five guys. There's six guys over 7,000 on DraftKings. That's
I'll
it.
I'll roster James Harden tomorrow. And with rostering James Harden, I think I take myself out of the Kemba Walker.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see because there's only six guys over 7,000 that Harden's pretty high owned, and that's probably why they put his price where it is.
I like a Batum and Kid Gilchrist stack against Brooklyn. I love Kid Gilchrist against Brooklyn. I believe he's done some pretty good. Believe he's had some pretty good games against them. Let me pull those up real quick. His last game against
Hmm.
Brooklyn, he had 37 points, and the game before that, he had 31 points. So you're looking at, if those two games, that's at least six times value right there.
Yeah, I always like to target the wings for
Brooklyn.
against Brooklyn. Like the small forward, power forward positions, they seem to do well. Actually, looking at it, in the last 10 games, Brooklyn has given up the most points to forwards, like
Hmm.
so power forwards and small forwards, an
I don't.
average of 24.3 points.
The more I look at these plays, I don't. I think it's hard to fade Harden at this point. I can get Kid Gilchrist at 5-1. I could possibly get Jeremy Lamb. I can go Evan Fournier. Like, there's a lot of mid-range guys that I can put around Harden and feel comfortable with.
Hmm.
Levert,
Yeah.
Levert is back tomorrow. He rested today, yesterday, whenever it was. They played today.
No, well, he is actually ruled out for tomorrow with knee soreness, so he won't be
Swear,
playing.
I didn't.
Same with Quincy AC.
I didn't see that.
Quincy AC has also been ruled out with an ankle injury, so they'll be somewhat limited on the wings for Brooklyn, which could bring Hollis Jefferson into play. It's going to be tough to. That might be where you win the money tomorrow, to be honest with you. So if we look at Brooklyn without Levert, I mean Levert and and Hollis Jefferson are the two guys that they want to see. They want to see play,
Well,
And when one of those two guys is out,
so here's
that's when.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Trevor Booker.
Yeah, that's when you see Boyan and Booker get extra minutes.
So Booker immediately comes into play.
Booker against Marvin Williams.
Trevor Ariza, Sam Decker, any of those guys? Jeff Green, Aaron Gordon.
Trevor Ariza, man, he is struggling.
His
He
price
has
has
really
dropped
been
considerably.
struggling. Against Atlanta, he was 1 for 12, with 1 for 10 from 3-point range. Yeah, his price is down. I guess he had an okay game last game against Chicago. He had 26 DraftKings points, but I don't know against the Magic that I like it that much.
I'm not rostering Ariza tomorrow. I'll gladly go MKG for cheaper.
Yeah, I like both Hollis Jefferson and Kid Gilchrist over Ariza.
Harrison Barnes, obviously on DraftKings you can play Wes Matthews, Evan Turner. Evan Turner had a really nice game against Dallas last time.
Yeah, I guess he's been stringing together some nice games.
Yes, yeah,
He's taken this role over a little bit.
I don't know. I just think it's impossible at this point to fade Harden tomorrow. I could comfortably go MKG and Evan Turner at 5,000 tomorrow.
You could.
At this point I don't think you can fade because I'm looking at Frank Kaminsky. I'm looking at Trevor Booker. I don't know how you fade Harden tomorrow. There's way too much mid range. There's way too many mid range guys.
So if you did want to go Kemba and Batum with Harden, you're left with 5 spots with an average price of 4,100. So that might be tough. But
I think
if you said you wanted to fade Kemba and say play Yogi, then you're looking at 4,600 for 5 spots.
That's doable. I can throw in a Jeremy Lamb and the rest I can probably get at 5,000.
I don't know. It just seems too straightforward, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like the slate is. I feel like there's not. I can guarantee you the GPP winning line will not be one line. I think, or one person. I think it's going to be a split pot tomorrow. I just.
So
I don't
let's get sneaky. Let's come up with a sneaky play for each position since it seems so cut and dry.
I'm telling you, Jeremy Lamb. Jeremy Lamb.
No, I said I can get behind Jeremy Lamb. Let me see. At power
Lamb.
forward,
Jeff Green.
who would you say would be sneaky?
Jeff Green.
Who? I don't know, man. I don't know about Jeff. His upside is, yeah.
Jeff Green is extremely streaky, and I guess on a short slate like tomorrow, I mean that's if you want to differentiate yourself, I think you kind of have to look at that, right?
Yeah, I guess you could look at Jeff Green.
I'm not saying he's going to have a good game. I'm not even really high on Jeff Green, but at 3,200,
yeah, but as a sneaky play,
yeah,
I could get behind some Marvin Williams tomorrow because I feel like people are going to be on Frank.
I think everyone's going to be on Frank.
So since Marvin Williams is 4,800, I feel like he might be sneaky tomorrow since it's almost the same price,
Yeah.
No one's going to play both. I mean, I guess people will, but
I don't think Sam Decker's not in play for me tomorrow. Serge, I think, is in play. You have to look at Serge. Serge is probably the highest upside power forward.
Yeah, him and Vucevic, I think, are in good spots. Obviously, against this Houston front court, being that they're both athletic bigs.
I don't know if you really have a sneaky power forward tomorrow. I mean, Marvin Williams, I guess, is in play. Not I guess is in play. I guess he could be sneaky, but
yeah, just because there's those 3 guys, Booker, Marvin, and Kaminsky are all like the same price. So for that reason alone, that could be sneaky because you're not going to see people picking between the three. You know.
I think honestly, I think Trevor Booker goes under owned tomorrow. I see everyone. I think Serge Ibaka is going to be extremely high owned, and then
Yeah, I could see that.
I see everyone else going to Frank.
Serge Ibaka, and then I mean, I guess you could put Aaron Gordon in there for tournaments. 4,600. We know his upside, but he's just not been playing well. Not really been getting the chance to play well.
I don't know. Power forward. I think you might. I don't think you try and get cute at power forward tomorrow. Dirk is in play. Dirk is Dirk, but I love Brooke
Yeah, I don't
Lopez.
know. Dirk's had three duds in a row now. One of them was against Portland too.
I love Brooke Lopez tomorrow.
I could definitely get behind some Brook Lopez tomorrow. But you can't really go Booker and Brook.
No.
And yeah, I don't know. I think the centers in Houston are going to be somewhat sneaky. I don't think people are going to be on that
I just want to
because of it's been so inconsistent. I kind of like Clint Capella tomorrow against Vucevic at 5,300.
I do as well. Let me just list some of the guys that have been mentioned, and you can let me know what you think. Nene, one. Aminu was mentioned.
Mentioned in what way?
We're talking sneaky plays. So the guys we're talking sneaky plays here. Myers Leonard. I don't know if I can get behind Myers Leonard. Alan Crabb. Dirk. And then Plumlee for Charlotte. Miles Plumlee.
Huh? Perhaps
What did Miles play last game? Let me see.
he played against Utah, but
I want to see what his stats were though. If I
he had a point per minute, 18 points, 18 minutes.
not against that.
If Zeller's out, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm not against that at all. I think if Zeller's out, you gotta look at Plumlee. I still, I still think I go Brooke Lopez tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I'm limiting my center pool to. I don't know. I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go Vucevic over Lopez, and I think I'm going to go then Capella.
Vucevic, I like a lot tomorrow. I think this game fits Vucevic's style more than Biombo.
Yeah, I think Vucevic is my favorite play. So that's why I'm not on Lopez because they're about the same price, and then I like Capella if I'm going down. And then I don't know who else I really look at. I mean, perhaps they go some extra run to Montrezl Harrell at the 4 to combat the two big situation in Orlando. You know, I don't see Ryan Anderson on Serge Ibaka ending well.
I don't either.
So perhaps they go some Harrell Capella. I know they don't really normally do that, but maybe we just see that.
I don't think there's a lot of center plays tomorrow. I think if you want to get sneaky, Miles Plumlee's minimum price, so you can.
Yeah, he might be the sneaky guy, and perhaps people will be off Dirk because he had 3 duds in a row. But you can attack Portland at the center.
You
So
can. Dirk, I guess, is in play, but
he's in play, and I think he might be sneaky just because people have a short, you know, short memory type thing.
they only think about what happened recently.
Oh, what happened last game against Portland? Oh, he did bad. Now I'm off.
Yeah, and that works both ways.
Absolutely.
You have a great game, and it's called the point chasing. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, there's not a lot. Like I said, I don't think you can fade Harden looking at this slate. Kemba's 8,500. If you're looking at another point guard, I mean, you can go Pat Bev, you can go Yogi Ferrell, but I think I'd rather go Yogi Ferrell.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing that's really standing out to me is that I'm really off the Portland team against Dallas.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought of any of those guys to, while doing my research today.
I'm just throwing together a lineup real quick. If I put Evan Turner, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Yogi Ferrell, I gotta throw another point guard in here. I guess I gotta go. I could do Kemba on FanDuel actually, because I still have with Yogi, Kemba, James Harden, Kidd-Gilchrist, and Turner. I have 5,500 left per player. So if I go the other shooting guard, if I go Batum, I have 4,900 left per player. I can go Frank Kaminsky at 45 and Trevor Booker at 52.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pay. The only center that leaves in play is Capella for me, though.
So that's not too bad.
Not
I
at
like
all.
Capella.
If I wanted to go up to Vucevic from Capella, I would have to go Elf Payton at the highest. But I don't know if I play Elf Payton. I almost like Patrick Beverly more. If I do that, I can get Serge Ibaka, but I don't know if I like Serge and Vooch together. Although I think that you might be able to play both of them tomorrow. I don't think you can definitely target Houston's front court
You can try. Yeah, I don't necessarily advocate for that, obviously, but
on such a short
don't I
slate.
don't take away from the fact that people are in good matchups just because it's like they're
Yeah,
playing on the same team.
yeah. I think on a short slate, you kind of have to, especially on a 3 game slate. I don't think you can really get too cute and oh, I don't like playing 2 big men together, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So I just put a lineup together on DraftKings without James Harden. It's obviously a tournament lineup. There's really nothing you can really do that's safe in cash today.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Kemba and Batum,
Okay.
and I have Kemba, Batum, and Marvin Williams, and then running it back in that game with Kilpatrick and Brooke Lopez.
Okay.
And then I have Wesley Matthews and Dirk and Vucevic.
Okay.
So that gives me a pretty well balanced lineup, and but again, you're fading Harden, so
It'll
it's
be
gonna be tough
interesting
to
to
do
see.
that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Balance wins it tomorrow or Star.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt I play any sort of double ups tomorrow, so I'm not really considering, do I have to do this in cash type thing. It's almost like I'm just going to create a few lineups and have some with Harden and have some without, and see which ones I like the best.
Jeffrey likes your lineup tomorrow. See,
Yeah, I look. I've been into Kilpatrick without one of these guys. Without Levert or without um, Bogdanovich. When they rest one of those guys, I don't know. I just feel like he comes into tournament consideration again. He's just really tough to. He's really tough to roster.
what sucks for me is I mentioned how much I like Jeremy Lamb tomorrow if I play James
Mm-hmm.
Harden.
Can't get Kilpatrick. So you're
Nah,
trying to get Lamb.
completely opposite. I can't get Nick Batum.
Oh, true.
I have to pick. So am I going to go Harden and Lamb or am I going to go Harden and Batum? And from a FanDuel perspective, I don't know if I can go Harden and Lamb and fade Batum completely. See, on DraftKings, you can get creative with where you're going to go. and you can play all three. But
I don't know. I still like fading between. If you want to play Harden, then just playing Walker and Harden, and not instead of a team, just playing Kemba. Because I mean, you
I
look
just
at high usage in the best game on the slate.
I
He's the
trust
guy.
I trust Batum more than I trust Kemba.
I trust Kemba's ceiling over Batum's ceiling, and we're talking tournaments. If you're trying to take it something down, I feel like why not pay up $1,000 to someone that can get you close to 60?
Maybe I make two lineups tomorrow.
Well, I'm making a bunch of lineups. That's what I do. I make a bunch of lineups. I just pick which one I think is the best.
The winning one, yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes, if on short slates like this, I'll pick the three I think are the best, and go into like a 3-entry max situation.
So
But I just want to give everybody kind of just a bit of a preview here of what I'm going to come out with you guys tomorrow. So essentially, when stacking games, I'm looking at two things. I'm looking at the total possessions in the game, meaning I'm just combining the two teams' pace because that's their average number of possessions per game. So if you combine both teams' average number of possessions, you get the total number of possessions in that game. Right? Am I right?
yep.
So if you look at total number of possessions for each game, that's essentially the amount of possessions that you have to score points. I'm also looking at the total fantasy points allowed per game. So if you combine Brooklyn's total fantasy points allowed with Charlotte's total fantasy points allowed, you get sort of an over-under number of fantasy points that are going to be scored in that game. And you can compare that with the other games in the slate as ones to target. So think of it as like a Vegas line for fantasy basketball. Instead of over-under for points per game, we're doing an over-under for fantasy points per game.
I like it.
Just helps you. It just helps you kind of pick which game to target if you choose that you want to do a game stack. I'm not saying that's the way to go. I'm just saying if that's what you want to do. I'm just giving you stats to look at.
I'm interested to see what your findings show. I really am. I haven't even read what Mike's writing up yet, so this is going to be new for me as well.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If you're into game stacking, that's to me the two stats that you need to be looking at. If you're trying to team stack, like if you're trying to target a team, say you want to target Portland. You're trying to target Portland with this Dallas team, right? In my opinion, the two stats that you need to start looking at are the pace differential, meaning your opponent's pace subtracted by the team's pace. And today, Dallas has the top pace differential on the slate. They are a plus 6.5. So that means that they are going to average an extra 6.5 possessions, essentially. And then I think you also need to look at your opponent's average fantasy points allowed. So total fantasy points allowed. Like if you're trying to target a team, you're trying to target the team that allows the most fantasy points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're looking at team stacking, I think looking at pace differential and opponent's average fantasy points allowed are the top two stats you need to look at. But again, that's only if you're into stacking teams. I'm not saying that that's the way to go. I'm just giving you the stats that you need to be looking at if that's what you want to do. I still think the meat and potatoes of picking your lineups tomorrow just comes down to player selection and looking at matchups and looking at DVP and pace and what we said up top.
Do you think when stacking games, I guess you talk about what team gives up the most points. There's definitely something to be said about a game being close in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Yeah, if you look at
what would you factor more into? A game, would you rather stack a game that's going to be close throughout or a game that has, for example, Brooklyn playing in it that gives up the most fantasy points?
Well, don't get me wrong. You still have to factor in point spread. Like the Vegas line gives you a point spread, and so you have to factor in what into that. But to me, instead of using an overall point total as the game that you want to use to game stack, you should be using the overall fantasy point total.
Gotcha.
So instead, essentially, if you're a fantasy player, you should be looking at not only point spread, but the over under for fantasy point total, not over under for points per game, because we don't want our players to just score points, you know.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Okay. No, I'm interested to see. Like I said, I'm interested to see what you write up and kind of play with it tomorrow and see what I can build with it.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it's going to come toward you. Obviously, like you said, play with it and build with it. This is just me presenting
Information.
the stats to you guys. Yeah, presenting the information in one spot, so you guys don't have to search all over like I'm doing.
We're centralizing it for you. We're pulling all the information and then present it
Yep.
to you in a neat and orderly manner. So
I will say that from what I've come to find is that sure all these stats are nice and they kind of point you toward games and teams to look at, but I still believe that rostering the players that are in good fantasy matchups is the way to go.
it still trumps everything. Yeah,
Yeah, and you're going to see that you're going to get players on the same teams anyway because they're all in good matchups, you know?
I agree. Especially, I mean, when you have like the Nets on the schedule, things like that. There's just a lot of good
Right.
matchups on the slate. Yeah.
And it's just kind of concluding the fact that stacking to stack doesn't make sense. Just build your lineups, and I guarantee you're going to have stacks in your lineup.
Don't go
You
out
know,
of your
don't
way.
don't go out of your way to do it. Build your lineups the way you always do, and then kind of look at it and be like, okay, I have all of these guys. Is this what I want? You know.
Makes sense. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, make sure to like that Facebook business page. Actually, don't even like it. Follow it. Because if you want the notification every time Mike goes live for his pregame lock, telling you, one of the first to do it in the business. Mike, great idea. We've already noticed quite a few sites that have started implementing it. So shout out to Mike for that.
Yeah, it's getting to be. I don't own the lock show anymore. it's so popular that I'm just like at your disposal, which is good. It's awesome, you know. I used to have like this whole process of how I went through each game and injury. Now it's just pretty much me just firing off after question, people coming in. So keep it up. I love it. It's definitely been helping people out. I get people all the time after the first half of games. They're like, "Thank you for taking me off that guy."
Yeah, no, there's a lot of great value plays that open up, and Mike does a great job of identifying some of those. And we've heard many times of Mike putting people onto plays later in the day that just open up. So shout out to Mike for that. Twitter, obviously, Fantasy Phenom. That's 2 underscores in there. You can email me, our Instagram page. And then, as always, if you would like access to the sheets, you get a free 7-day trial with it. No strings attached, I promise. You get these sheets as seen, the DVP and the player pool. You get my personal player pool. I put in my 5 favorite plays from each position. You get the projections for DraftKings and FanDuel. You get 5 optimal lineups. Sorry, 15 per slate to kind of play with. And again, I'll never tell you to use them verbatim. I tell you to use them as a tool. So you get to see 15 different lineups that have been shot back using the projections that I've developed, as these are the best combination of plays. And again, use them as a tool. You see a player in there 10 out of 15 times, it's a sign. Look at it. I build 5 based on projection, I build 5 based on ceiling, and 5 based on their floor. Ceiling is obviously geared more towards GBP, and floor is based more towards cash. They're safer plays. So just all the things you get player stats, so their usage, their field goal percentage, all that is in one place for you. You can search it. You do get a lineup builder as well if you have a PC or Mac with Excel 16 on Mac. Any version of Excel will work on PC. So it's just a ton of good information, and you get access to the pro group for Facebook, which there everyone chops it up in terms of optimal lineups and things like that. So that's the only Facebook group that has the ability that we have that has the ability to talk about lineups and things like that from the Excel perspective and the projections that we offer. Obviously, it's not presented in the free group. So, and Mike's huge on this as well, and he'll preach to the choir on this one. The community is what we're all about, man. What I put out there, what we talk about are the guys that we're playing. I show you guys the projections. I show you guys the optimal lineups. I send out the projected versus actual scores every night after the games. So I'll show you the results. And if they're terrible that night, you'll see them. If they're great, you'll see them as well. So there's 100% transparency between us. I'm not going to hide what we're playing. I'm not going to put you on guys that I'm not going to play. Things like that.
Yeah, on my lock show, I tell everybody my lineups right before I go on the show, and just kind of what I've been doing, and it's been working for me is I wait till like pretty much the last minute to build my lineups. So I'm on the news all day and everything, but I just have dummy lineups in the contest I want to play, and then come right 5:40 or like probably like an hour before lock, I build my lineups, and it's really easy. Like it just kind of comes to me because I know in my head the guys I want to lock in after hearing it all day. And I've noticed before me doing that, I would build a lineup, the night before, then I would change it in the morning, then I would change it in the afternoon because I kept hearing things that made me want to change my lineup. Whereas when I waited till an hour before lock, my lineups I'm kind of playing the guys I know I want. And so when I'm doing that, I'm able to bring that directly into the lock show. And I've just built my lineups. I've just went through my whole process of evaluating players, in my lines, and I bring that straight to the show, and then at the end of the show, I tell you what I got. So full, like Kyle said, full transparency.
By the way, look forward to a Wednesday day show. I know we mentioned that
That's
last
right.
night. Wednesday during the day, we're going to go live at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll have a more updated show, I guess you could say. We'll have a little more player news out. Just something to look forward to. On days that Mike and I are both off, we're going to go live during the daytime. And again, look forward to our roundtable discussion with Mike and I, Josh and Josh, D, Anthony, and Jeff. Am I missing anyone? I think I got everyone, right?
Dave.
Dave, I missed Dave. God damn it. So,
We got you, Dave.
we got you, Dave. So look forward to that. It's going to be a roundtable discussion. Really excited about. We're working on the format and how we're going to present it to you guys, but that's something to look forward to. So just kind of get to see the entire behind the scenes team doing work for us. Again, there is an audio only version of this show, and Anthony sends that out nightly or in the morning, I guess you could say early morning. He does the convert work, and we're working on getting over to iTunes as well. So once we get on iTunes, all you guys that have your things on there, you won't even have to go to a website to listen to the podcast. It'll just be right on iTunes for you guys. So
Yep. It's a step-by-step process, doing your research, and I can't stress it enough. Finding a step-by-step process that you find to be, successful, and sharing it with the group or asking one of us, like what we do. The more you know, the better, and the more you can take from to make your own process. And that's just something I'm trying to do here as far as building strategy for short slates. So, again, look for that tomorrow, and I will be around. So, shoot me a message or get at me on Twitter or something.
yeah, buddy. Thank you guys for tuning in again. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Appreciate you guys supporting us. Have a wonderful night, and we will talk to you on the other side.